Well, good morning. That took a little while for us to
I know.
come live.
Like, oh. And then from here, I'm in Sheridan, Wyoming, and so I don't know how great my connection is. Like all of a sudden you were frozen. I'm like, are we on? Are we not on? What are we doing? We had such a great time yesterday. Rob and I went up into the Bighorn Mountains. And I hate to admit this because this is really sad, but for my whole life, I thought that Yellowstone National Park was in Montana. I grew up in North Dakota, like right next to Montana. I don't know if it was a fantasy or what, but no, that Yellowstone National Park is really mostly all in Wyoming. And the Bighorn Mountains, they call them a sister mountain range to the Rocky Mountains. So, holy cow, they are beautiful, just like blow your mind beautiful. We had a wonderful day. Some scary things driving on some of these um, gravel roads where the cliff was like, I couldn't even look. I had to look out the other window. But once we got to the very top, it was gorgeous. And then luckily we had a beautiful paved highway with road guards on the way down. So I could really look at what I had missed going up. And it was just, yeah, beautiful.
That's awesome. You'll have
Yeah.
to put some pictures in the student union so people
Yeah.
can see
Yeah,
them.
I took a couple of videos, so they're coming. I didn't want to do them all at one time, but I'll try and get one in there today. So,
Awesome.
wow, we had two really, really great topics today. One being you talked about regain and how we always want to start with the actions. Like if we've gone through the program, this should be easy. If we want to try and get some more weight off, or if we've gained some, we want to get it off, and that it really all starts with our mind, not with the actions. And that you one of the big things you talked about is that it's going to take intention versus winging it. We just think since we've already done it, we can just wing it and know how to do it, but it still takes intention, and you work with our thoughts and feelings around that.
Yeah. So regain is just a circumstance. So what we're focused on this month in our master's program is conquering circumstances. So regaining weight is just a circumstance. And you can choose to think about it however you want. And that will define the experience that you're having, period. Okay. So we also talked about other circumstances, but just to kind of see how the mind math plays out for you with a circumstance of regain, we had clients who were like, this is hard, or following protocol on the front end is so much easier. Like when you first go through the program, I hear this all the time. So people regain a little bit of weight and they're like, why was it so easy when I first went through the program? Well, let's just talk about that. Was it really easy? Because I'll tell you what, I have people going through the program right now who started yesterday who are like, oh my gosh, this is a totally new way of eating. This is going to be hard. Isn't it interesting? They're having the exact same thoughts. And those thoughts are what create their experience. So it's so important that you understand how the mind math creates your experience 100% of the time. Your thought of this is hard or it was so much easier last time creates a feeling. Often for some people, it's a feeling of like unworthiness, right? Because if you see in my thought line right here, there's dot, dot, dot. This is hard and I've never been able to lose the weight, or this is hard and I always regain it back. Or, this was so much easier before. And this is not unlike every other time where I've regained it and I can't lose it. All of that is just some BS primitive brain thinking that if you don't question it, you will create hard. I promise you that. So the good news is that this is all within your control and we teach you how to solve the problem. The problem is not the regain, you guys. Even though our little brain wants us to believe that the problem is the regain, it's not. So when we talk about learning how to solve your problems fast, let's just shortcut to that. The real problem is this feeling. That's what we solve, is the feeling. We're not trying to solve your circumstances. So the other example or the other conversation that we had was around loss and grief. Of course, we as a company are not going to be able to solve the problem of death and dying. But the fact that they were feeling some sort of lack of control or maybe even unworthiness in that perspective or that circumstance, that's what we can solve for, because your feelings always dictate your behaviors. They are what's driving your behaviors that you ultimately create your results from. And so when we teach you how to solve your problems fast, we start on how it is that you're feeling. That's what we're solving. And how do we do that? We look at what it is that you're thinking or what it is that you're believing that's creating that feeling. We always
Yeah.
start with an awareness of what you're feeling right now.
And with grief, we're never telling someone, we're not using our intentional model and our self-coaching saying, "Oh, I'm not going to feel this way." That's not it. It's really diving into that emotion and just the way that you're thinking about it and how to process it. And the best way to do that is to get it down on paper so that you really have time to give yourself some compassion and to really see, where are you tripping up, or what are some thoughts. Maybe an easy thought is that maybe I'm not supposed to know how to handle this, and it just makes you feel more compassion for yourself as you're going through that process.
Right. Yeah. So if there's one takeaway from what our students learned today that I would offer to anybody who's new to Self-Made You, it's that we have been brought up to believe that it's the circumstances in our life that need to be changed in order for us to feel like we're solving our problems. And that's not true. What I want to offer you is it's the way that you're feeling, and that how that is being dictated from the belief that you are unintentionally choosing. That's the problem that we solve, and it changes everything. It changes every aspect of your life. So I'm super excited that you guys are here, that you follow along with us to see what our students are learning. We would encourage you to check out our taste test, which is just that. It is a 1 month sampling of what our students experience in its entirety. So you get invited to 4 group coaching calls, and then you get the lesson on protocols, how to create protocols that include fasting and include the foods that will fuel you. So you really get a nice little jump start into weight loss and metabolic health. So for $200, it's such a great deal. And we would welcome you with open arms into this phenomenal group or community of like-minded, self-made people. So consider that. We will drop the link below, and I would encourage you to show up next week and hear all about what our students learned next week. We'll talk to you soon.